Hello and welcome back to Sacred Vapes. Channel aims to bring you the views and experiences of products on the market today, brought to you by an average vapor. Now this week we're going to start things off with something that's been quite a big launch recently, but considering recent news, it's kind of a bizarre release. It's something from a company you will have heard of. It's the Smok TF tank. Now, Smok. The reason why I'm getting into what they've announced recently is because this is now the third tank they've released since the new release schedule. They released the TF Mini back in September. That came with things like the R-Kiss and the Species and whatnot. They released the baby version 2 back in December with the Mag Grip and the V9 kit. And now they've just announced this. The TF tank features a pushing coil design, big capacity, very old school style, but with like a thinner bubble glass. So it's a very interesting tank, and I've been using this for the past couple of weeks now, and just wanted to share my thoughts with you. We'll get into the up close first and foremost, but before we do that, let's give her a vape. So here's the box, and it's a completely different design from what you normally get from Smok. It looks nice and clean. It looks absolutely clear. You have instructions on the back. On the side you get your contents, everything that you get. Just address details. On the side here you get your scratch code, you get your little Smok hologram and whatnot, and that's about it. So we'll get the box open now. Inside you'll find the tank. Now it's a little bit of a different design from what Smok normally do, you can see, because it's more of a fatter, wider bubble glass design. We'll talk about the tank in a second, but pull this out. You get a little warning card. You get a user manual. Now inside the box you get one of these protective plastic, well not plastic, rubber things for the glass. For the life of me I cannot get mine on. You get spare parts and O-rings. You get a spare glass, which I think's 4mm. And you get, it just fell down there, an extra spare coil. Now these coils are BF, show you. They're recommended 60 to 70, 30 to 80, and 0.25 ohm coils. Just show you that. This has obviously had plenty of use. So we'll move on to the tank now. Now the tank is a 6mm capacity glass. It comes with replaceable 810 drip tip. Here we go, bottom adjustable airflow. There we go. And the fill hole is this button here. And it's a typical Smok design that you push it in and pull it back, revealing a nice big fill hole. How it works, what we do, you unscrew the base cap. It's a 510 pin as well as standard, but there's your bottom cap. Now the way it works very simply is that you just pull, whoop, dropped it, you just pull the coil out and there's your coil. So it's a push-in design coil type. Push it back in, and then once your coil's in, simply fill it up and you're good to go. So let's take it back up top now and we'll get into the pros and cons of this tank. And welcome back. So Smok have released a tank that pretty much is completely different to what they've ever released before. You know, they're normally just a screw-in designs. They're normally carrying quite a universal design. This one seems to go away from the trend, and the push-in coil design that's been quite popular with Uwell, Aspire, Vupu recently. You know, Smok adapting their design, and potentially it's really, really good. It's a really interesting tank, especially considering what they're releasing soon. I mean, I'll tell you at the end of the video, but this is, I can see being a very much a standalone tank, and if Smok decide to run with this and the new design as your two options, could potentially be a little bit of continuity from the company for once. But before we get into all that, we'll get into the pros and cons of the tank. And the first pro for me is going to be the flavour. Flavour for me is really, really nice. It's really strong. It's consistent. You get your sharp notes on your fruits. You get your nice, consistent exhale. Compared to the other tanks that I've released previously, from the TFE Mini to the Baby version 2, these are really, really nice flavour coils. I say they're really consistent. Coil life is, well, coil life is over 2 weeks, I've found. You know, the coil that I showed you in the box, that was the first one that I tried, and potentially it can push up to 3 weeks worth of flavour. Reason being is because I swapped the coils out because I wanted to get a bit more of a consistent experience. So there's nothing wrong with that coil in the box. It's obviously had a bit of use, but yet the coil life on it seems to be really good. So yeah, that's another pro for me. Next pro is going to be the vapor production. Again, nice and thick for only 75 watts. Only 75 watts. And you're getting a nice big thick flavour come through with the vapor production. So yeah, these coils do perform. They're not... I mean, for example, going back to the Crown 4, I did find the vapor production was a little bit subdued to the similar amount of wattage. So this, yeah, it's a really nice thick vapor production. Next pro is going to be the juice consumption on the back of that. You know, for 75 watts, it doesn't drink the liquid. I mean, it is consistent for what you'd expect putting out 75 watts, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily like drinking the liquid. So it is quite an efficient tank. I'd say the airflow, again, nice and wide, plenty of option to turn it down, so that's a pro. Replaceable A10 drip tip, that's a pro. The fill hole release, again, nice and sturdy. I've not had any openings in my pocket while I've been taking this out. You know, you do require a little bit of force to push that out. So again, that's a pro for me. The fact that it's a 25mm tank, you know, it's going to fit on pretty much any mod that you normally use. So that's a pro. And yeah, it's a nice and easy tank to use as well. Just pulling the coil out. Not had any issues there. So overall, it is a really, really good tank. So you're going to ask, what are the cons of the tank? Because I've pretty much sold it quite well. So we'll start with the cons now. The first con for me is going to be that drip tip. It feels small. I mean, it's an A10 connection, but it's not a big wide drip tip. I'd prefer it to be a little bit bigger. Certainly you might want to put your own drip tip on there, something that's a bit wide, because for the vapor production it does feel quite small in your mouth compared to other ones on the market. So that's going to be a bit of a con. Next con for me, this is going to sound quite strange, but it actually seems to struggle on the first couple of hits. When you fill a tank up, and what I found, this is over different flavours, this is not just exclusive to one brand. You know, when you first, your tank's empty, you fill it up, you do get, the first hit seems to struggle, the first or second hit seems to struggle, and then after that, it does seem to even out, and you don't get that issue again. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I emptied the tank for the close-up, and you know, this is vaping fine now. But when I first took a pull, I did get a bit of a slight dry hit. So yeah, that's going to be a bit of a con for me. Next con is going to be, I mean, I'm not a fan of this cage design inside, if you can see. It makes it very hard to see the coil. I understand why there's a cage design for the pushing, but yeah, for my personal preference, I prefer just be able to see the coil properly, just so you can, just in case you've forgotten what the max wattage is. Next con, I am. See, I'm starting to struggle now. I mean, again, personal preference. I would have preferred that to be an automatic release, much like other tanks I've brought to you recently. That would have made it a little bit better. And I suppose the fact that there's no non-leaking technology in there, which, let me explain what I mean by that. Basically, when you're pulling this coil out, if you've got a tank of liquid, there's nothing to stop the liquid then just pouring out. Which I'm not a fan of the self-sealing design that Aspire did, but just to have, maybe if you could have like half a tank, have the sort of design where you can pull the coil out at like half full, and you're not gonna have any liquid then pouring out. It just makes it easier to change the coil, I think. So again, it's a personal con for me, but yeah, I would have preferred to have at least half full and be able to replace the coil rather than have the tank completely empty. But yeah, other than that, I can't really think of any other cons with this. So we'll get into the overall of this now. And overall, it's going to be a bit of a strange one for me to say this. I have been thinking over the past week or so how I'm really going to sum this one up. Because as a tank, would I say it's the best one on the market? No. I do think there are better out there. But this is very, very good. This is a really good tank. And especially if you're picking it up in something like the Morph kit that recently released, you're going to get a fantastic full kit there for your money. I say you get fantastic vapor production, fantastic flavour. It's really efficient. I mean, I didn't mention it before, but in actual fact, you can actually vape the tank really low. I mean, when it gets to about here and you think it's time to fill up, it still keeps going. I mean, apart from that initial experience when I filled the tank up, I've not had any dry hits. I mean, I've been trying to vape it as low as I can before I fill it back up again, and I've not had any experiences like that. I do think this, for me, has been Smok's best tank since the TF-V8, and that is saying something. All the other tanks I think the Prince is nice and solid, but this is really consistent. It's really nice flavour, and yeah, would I recommend this tank? Yes, I actually would. It is a really, really nice tank. I just would say it's not the best you can buy, but if you want a tank like this, I actually think for flavour, this is better than the Crown 4 on everything other than the complete efficiency, the self-cleaning technology. But I'd say it even rivals the Matte. Maybe better. Without using them side by side, I couldn't officially say that. But yeah, this is Smok's best tank for a long time. Now, to what I alluded to before, Smok have actually announced the TF-V16. So, when I was saying before, it's very interesting they've released this tank and this design in the tank. It's because mainly the next release is going to be your super power tank. So hopefully, guys, I can bring that to you in the near future if it becomes available. But yeah, go out and buy this tank if you like the sound of it. I would say it's a really good tank. So thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you like the new style of video. This is what I'm going to try and do from now on. So yeah, there might still be some hiccups in the early videos, which I'm going to try and work through and hopefully be able to really improve your experience watching the channel. But yeah, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Coming up this weekend, we've got the return of the pod series, and we have a juice review. So check them out. But as I always say, stay safe. and keep vaping.